And I've been coaching in the program the last 2 semesters. I really enjoy doing that.
My assistant principal just started it with Gardner Webb this semester for his doctorate. So I've been talking to him, and he's been very encouraging. But he's the one who kind of got me to do this program when I started looking, because he had graduated from Gardner Webb with his administration. So it's been good to have somebody that's been through it, because I can go, like today I went downstairs and I was like, all right, so I'm working on combining my APTL. And when I run out of letters in my appendix, can I go to double letters, or is there something else I'm supposed to do? And he's like, oh yeah, you can do double letters. You just got to be consistent.
Oh, and you were the one that said you hadn't put all your artifacts in there for your PDF.
Yeah. I've got everything lined up. I've got everything labeled. I made notation. I printed it all out so I could write everything down for, okay, this one has A through D, and then this one needs to start with E, and then this one's going to start with this. So I've tried to get it kind of ready to start putting it together, but I haven't quite gotten brave enough to start changing things permanently yet.
This is a good
Well, we will talk about that tonight.
Yeah, for anybody that's planning to go into a doctoral program, this is good practice right now. So very good practice. And we'll go ahead and mute everybody, Dr. Revis, and then you can unmute yourself, okay?
Okay.
Okay, now. Okay, well, it's 7:01. We're going to go ahead and get started. I hope everybody had a great weekend. We saw the sun shine finally this weekend, and it was so good. And then Monday, it poured down rain again. But today has been another beautiful day. But I think we're going to have pretty weather tomorrow. And for us, it said the next 5 days rain. So I don't know. The water is standing everywhere. But hope that all of you are safe and that you're doing well. And again, we bring welcome to you from Gardner Webb University. Dr. Revis, if you would just begin with just welcoming and just comments about Task 5 at this point.
Okay, well, welcome to week 7. And guys, we're halfway there almost. And that's almost hard to believe for me anyway. But I enjoyed reading your reflections in Task 5. You guys have done a lot of work this semester, and I hope you did some good reflecting about where you started and where you are now and how far you've come as far as your leadership development. It was just really rewarding to me to read your reflections in Task 5. Remember that you didn't have to put it in for my review, but you have to put it in for the final submission. So be sure you have done that. A few of you need to go ahead and do that at this point. But anyway, I was real pleased with the work that came in on Task 5.
And if you don't put, there is actually a place in there, Dr. Revis, I saw where they get a grade for the review for Task 5. So if you put it in for evaluation and don't put it in there and everything's good, then Dr. Revis and I will go back and give you the same credit for the review. So just know that we are aware of that. And like Dr. Revis, I was very pleased with the reflections for the competencies for Task 5. A lot of good things. You're doing a lot of good things, and very just remember that you should always look for diversity in the opportunities that you're going to be reflecting on with your competencies. And the competencies are something that when you submit everything to Taskstream, I would think, Dr. Revis, that if any of their work is ever pulled by a future employer to look at, that would be one of the strongest areas I would look at, because it tells me a lot about you. So just make sure that you don't shortchange yourself, because you're going to do this every semester. as long as you're in the program, you will address all 21 competencies every semester. So don't shortchange yourself, and make sure that you are diversifying your experiences, and that it's something that when somebody reads it, you want them to have the wow effect with it if possible. I will say that the biggest problem that I had to deal with, and it was not a big problem, was just make sure that in the future, because now Dr. Revis and I we've got a pretty good eye for it, and we're a stickler for it. But after this semester, I don't know how in tune somebody's going to be to some of the smaller things that we look at. Just remember APA 7th edition and your headings. I had to send some of them back and just say, make sure you're consistent with how the headings for the 12 competencies need to be written based on, APA. And you had all of that in the example and in the information that we had provided in the AAPSL template and materials section. So just make sure that you slow down and that you take the opportunities to use the resources that we have provided for you. But with that in mind, I don't have any, overall, I think, good job, very good job. Dr. Revis, if you would just remind them about the case study that's due at the end of this week.
Okay, so many of you have already started meeting with your team and doing the case study. Remember, there are 4 questions that you need to be prepared to answer in advance of your Zoom meeting. Remember that in the Zoom meeting, we are listening, I should say, for the language of the AAPSL. Think about, when you're answering those questions, what you did in the AAPSL, and that was a mini school improvement project, and how that would translate over into your case study. So I want to hear language of the AAPSL. Also, we want to we're going to listen for how you handle yourself in a professional setting, and how prepared you are with answering those 4 questions in advance. Now, what you're going to turn into us is not those 4 questions, but it's a 1-page, 2-part reflection on the main points of the case study. And don't rehash the case study. Don't tell it over again. But what are the main points that drew you out, or that came out to you when you looked at the case study? And then reflection on your Zoom meeting about the case study. I would expect to hear things like, one of my teammates brought out a really good idea that I didn't think about, or, a teammate brought out an idea that I concur with because, something along those lines. It's just more of a reflection of the Zoom meet.
And make sure that you write it in a professional manner. Just make sure that it doesn't have to be APA, but just make sure that it's written professionally.
And so you know where to turn that in. Do you want to go to that screen, Dr. Stedman, now, or
I'm going to go back there in just a minute, and
Okay.
just remind me, we'll show them that. But I just want, because we're going to come out of this in just a minute. But this is
all right.
And this is just the basic format for this evening. We're going to talk about next combining your task 1 through 5 into one final AAPSL document. Then we're going to talk about the Turnitin process. Then about submission to Taskstream for final grade. Dr. Revis is going to provide information on the Competency Folio. And we're going to talk about just a reminder of the School of Ed dispositions. These are the things that we're going to cover this evening. And then this is just a reminder of your upcoming responsibilities. The case study will be due by this Sunday evening by 9 o'clock. The final AAPSL, all of that should be completed. If it's not completed, and everything cleared by the end of this week, then you should have communicated with Dr. Revis and me about that. It looks like at this point that everybody in my class is going to be ready to do that at this point, Dr. Revis. So if there's anybody, they need to let us know.
Actually, I think Dr. Stedman, the due dates on the case study and the final AAPSL,
It's week 8. I'm sorry. Week 8. I am ahead of week 8. You're exactly right. And I looked at that. Week 8. You've got a little bit of time. That's right. A little bit of time is built in there. I'm getting way ahead of the game, aren't I? But thank you for catching that. I was thinking week 8 the whole time that we were that when I was looking that we were in week 8, but we're in week 7. Thank you for that correction. And then just a reminder that that the town hall. However, if you are through, and many of you will be through, you don't have to wait until week 8. You don't have to wait until week 8. You can go ahead and turn that in when you're ready, but don't rush. Make sure that you've done it correctly. And then just a reminder that next Monday, because we will not see you again until next Tuesday, we'll send a reminder. But there's a required town hall next Monday, and Dr. Lamb will introduce to you evidence 2 that we will begin working on. We'll actually start talking about it next week. Evidence 2, the AAPSL, which is the Analysis and Action Plan for Teacher Empowerment and Leadership. We'll actually talk to you next week and tell you how to equip yourself, things that you need to pull and have ready. And basically, we won't say a whole lot about the AAPSL after tonight. We'll say a little bit, maybe just good job, whatever. Answer questions individually if you have any. But pretty much after tonight, our focus will not be on the AAPSL anymore, as far as we're concerned. And then next week, not this week, but next week, our coaching session will resume for week 8 on March the 4th at 7 o'clock. We will reflect again on the AAPSL that night. And then I'm not going to go into week 9 at this point, but we'll talk about that next week. Okay. I'm going to come out of this and then bring up this. Dr. Revis, you said to show them again where go to case study materials. And if you go, this is the information that you need, your directives. This is the scenario with the questions. And this is where you will click case study scenario number 1, written reflection in Zoom link. You click on that and it follow the directions, and that is where you will attach the documents that you will have written, or that's where you will put your written reflection and your Zoom link for your work on the case study. Do you think I need to open it up, Dr. Revis, or do you think that's enough?
I think that's enough. And Tasha was just saying she didn't have access to case study directions. Is that correct? Okay. I don't know what happened when my course got copied over, but some of my links do not work. But I will make myself fix that and re-upload.
That's an easy fix. Thank you and let us know if anybody in either of our classes finds this. Let us know immediately so we can address that if it's an issue for the course shell. Want to talk about combining tasks 1 through 5, and I will say some of you have already done it. I think I cleared 2 yesterday, Dr. Revis. I think I cleared 2 tasks 1 through 5 where I told them to hold it, not to do anything with it, but they have put it together and did an excellent job with it. So, so the process of putting it together is not a hard process. What I want to do is to pull up the example that you have this is in your your AAPSL template and materials section. This is the example that we've given you. And I want you to know this is a completed document. You are going to take the five tasks that you have completed for the AAPSL, and you're going to put them together into one document. I call it it's like a chapter book. And you're going to put it together in one document with one title page. And remember, on that title page, the only thing that you've got to do is to put your name here. This is, and again, the evidence one, and then your name here, and then you go on to the next page. Just remember, we gave you, there was in the template, right in this section right here, there was information that says if it's in yellow, that means you write something. If it's in red, that's information for you to do something or helpful hints with it. And if it's at black, it stays. Make sure that you take that information out of your final document. That should not be there. That's just for information only. The next thing is going to be your school profile. Then you're going to go to task 1. Remember, this information has to stay. The task 1 description, the instructions, it stays. Then you're going to put in your task 1, the work that we cleared for you, that you successfully have done. That's the next thing you put in, task 1. You're going to take out of task 1, though, you're going to take out all of the work that you would have originally put in there for your reference section and for your appendices. You're going to take them out at this time, okay? They are not left in there. It's only the task 1 and the task 2 work, I mean the prompt 1 and prompt 2 work that you would have done, or the prompt, whatever the prompts are in each of the tasks. Then you go to task 2. You're going to do the same thing. You're going to leave your description and your instructions in there, what prompt 1 says to do. Then you're going to put task 2 in there. You're going to do the very same thing. Any references that you would have had at the end and anything that you would have had in the appendices, you're taking it out at this point. Not getting rid of it, just taking it out. Then you go to task 3, the very same thing. You're going to put in the description, the instructions, what the prompts say do. Put your work completed, approved work in there. You're going to come to the end of task 3. You're going to take out the reference section at the end, and you're going to take out your appendices. And I know this is slow, but it's important that we do this. Then you're going to go to task 4, the very same process. You put the instructions in, you put prompt in, your work in, and then when you come to the end of task 4, you take out the reference section and you take out the appendices at this point. And then you go to task 5. The very same thing, put your instructions in, the prompt in, and then you put your work in. And if there was a reference or an appendices at the end of that, you take it out as well. Now, after task 5, make sure that it's in this order. If not, we have to send it back. After task 5 is your references. You go back, and all references from task 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, you put them together into one reference section, alphabetically, APA style. The references come after task 5. And then the appendices. And remember, you go back and you pull them from the beginning to the end. And if Appendix A is in Task 1, this should match. When I look at this, I should be able to go back to Figure 1, and I should be able to see, you know, what's in the body of your paper should match what you've got at the end. Tasha asked the question. She said, well, if I go to A through Z, what do I do? Tasha, what did we tell you what did we find out that you do if you run out of the alphabet A through Z?
Start with double letters, A, B, B, C, C, just be consistent.
That's right. So just remember that. If you go A through Z, then what do I do next? You go back to Appendix AA, Appendix BB, Appendix CC, but just make sure that you're consistent with that.
And one thing I would like to remind you about is if in your narrative within tasks 1 through 5, if you referenced something in your appendix, let's say in task 2, you made a reference to Appendix E, make sure that that still is Appendix E if you made reference to that in your narrative. So it's going to take you a little work, and this is not hard work, it's just a little tedious. So take your time and make sure everything aligns and cross-references correctly.
And I would say to those people that I have looked at your work, just make sure that after tonight, that's why I said do not go any further than this. Make sure that if I said something or Dr. Revis says something tonight, that you go back, if you think that something's not right, you go back and you check it, because I knew we were going to have tonight, and I looked at it and I looked at it carefully, but I will go back and look at it again if you think that there was any of this that I don't think there was, but just don't take for granted. I wanted to make sure we covered tonight first. Go back and look again if I've cleared you, just to make sure that we haven't missed something. Dr. Revis, did I miss anything at all about what to do about putting the 5 tasks together?
No, I think you've covered it. The next little tricky part is about where to upload it for our review. Do not put it in Turnitin until we tell you it's ready to go.
Okay. Let me show them exactly where to go, Dr. Revis. If you go back to, let's go to,
Task for review.
I'm trying to find it. Here.
On down.
Okay,
You're
there
almost
it is.
there.
Okay.
There you go.
Go to AAPSL Task for Review. Now, what it is, that's basically, that's a discussion board. That's a discussion board. So you go to the AAPSL task, or you can go to discussion board. It doesn't matter. It's the same thing. You go back to AAPSL Task 5, because that's the end of the document. Go back to the same thing. Click on it. Create a thread. And just put AAPSL, completed AAPSL or combined AAPSL for review. Just put it as your subject. You upload your document and make sure it is the correct document. Make sure that you identify it when you save it as the correct document. This has been a problem in the past, Dr. Revis. Once in a while, the wrong document is sent to us to review, and we'll talk about this when you get to Turnitin, the wrong document goes to Turnitin, and that is a problem when it goes to Turnitin that way. But this is where Dr. Revis and I will review it and we'll tell you either you need to fix something. This is not for your peers. This is just for Dr. Revis and me. We will tell you that that you need to fix something, or we'll tell you in our comments there that submit to the Turnitin process. Now, we're not going to tell you to do anything but to submit to the Turnitin process at that point, because when it goes to Turnitin, and we're going to talk about that in a second too, when it goes to Turnitin, that is when we will tell you the final time. There's 2 steps, or 3 steps actually. We review it, and we either tell you that it's good to go, or we tell you you need to fix something. If it's good to go, step number 2 is going to be, it goes to the Turnitin process. And then when it goes to the Turnitin process, you've got to get our approval again to say it's ready to go to Taskstream for final evaluation. Do not do anything. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Do not do anything unless Dr. Revis and I have told you that it's good to go, because what's going to happen, you're going to mess things up for yourself. So, and we don't want that to happen. Okay. Now you have submitted it to Dr. Revis and me, and we have said you're good to go. And we're going to say, submit it to the Turnitin process. Dr. Revis, will you, and I'm sure most of them know, but will you just tell them, in case they don't know what the Turnitin process is?
Well, okay, so the Turnitin process is just a double check for all of us to make sure that you have documented your resources, that there are no quotes or direct passages that come from someone else's work, that you have it properly documented. So we like to see in the originality report, which is what we pull from Turnitin, we don't want to see you any higher than 30%. Now, when I first started working in this program, I said, oh my, 30%. But what we have to remember is all that text that describe each task, the directions, if you will, that has been turned in over and over and over, and it will pull that or highlight that as being someone else's work.
Okay.
We do go, am I correct? 30%, Dr. Stedman, correct?
That's right. If
Okay.
it's beyond that, then Dr. Revis and I are going to look at why it's over that. And sometimes it's legitimate. Sometimes it has been legitimate. I have had, just like I had probably over the years, I've had about 12 students from one high school in Cumberland County at the same high school. Well, after 12, I mean, the research is starting to show up. A lot of the school information is showing up. So that caused their number to be high, those students that came on much later in the program. So, you know, we have knowledge of those kinds of things. So we're able to understand, you know, if that's the case. But please know that with Turnitin, if there is, and I'm going to use the bad word, if there's plagiarism, then plagiarism is going to show up, and it's actually going to tell us where the work was plagiarized from. It will actually identify where it came from, the student's work it came from, etc. So we don't have to research, we don't have to go very far to find out what we need. I'm hoping and praying that that won't be an issue. I probably, over the course of my years, have had to deal with that twice, Dr. Revis. So I hope that is not an issue. But this is what you do. You just click on the AAPSL Turnitin check. You will click on here. And this is, see, Dr. Revis and I do not have, we don't have an account, a Turnitin account. So it's not going to allow us, the author, we're not an enrolled student. So that's what it should. But when you click on here, it should have your name on it. Your name should be generated there. You will put your name in there, or you will make sure that your name is in there. The submission title, this is AAPSL. This is the AAPSL Evidence 1. And then you're going to make sure that this is where you better make sure, upload your final document that has been approved. Make sure that you've got that identified, how you've got it saved in your computer. Make sure that you've got the right one identified, because once you put it in there, you can't go to turn it in. There's not a second opportunity with Turnitin. So once you put your information in there and submit it, we can't go back and change the Turnitin process. We can deal with a problem, but we can't change. You only get one opportunity. Now, somebody's going to say, well, I want my report. You're not going to get a report. When you paid in your fees for Turnitin, this is as far as it goes. Now, Dr. Revis and I, instructors, can look at things. Students do not get reports. The only thing you need to worry about is if we have to contact you about it. And we will contact you individually. Once you turn it in, and we say you're good to go, submit to Taskstream for evaluation, you don't need to worry about Turnitin anymore. You will have cleared the process with us. But again, we will tell you that excellent work, great work, whatever, you can now submit to Taskstream for final evaluation, or submit to Taskstream. That's when you will go to your Taskstream account. And you will have to spend some time in there, but it will tell you as a student, where you will submit your work for evaluation in Taskstream. The AAPSL for evaluation. Just take your time. You have to work your way through it, and it's a learning process for many the first time. But I've never had one to fail the test, Dr. Revis. They figured it out once they got in there. Again, when you get there, just like we said in Turnitin, make sure that you submit the proper document to Taskstream for evaluation, because now once it goes there, guess what? It's out of Dr. Revis in my hands then. We don't even communicate with your evaluators. Now, if there is a problem, someone's going to communicate back with us and let us know that there's a problem with your work, and then we will deal with you one-on-one then. And again, that's rarity. That's a rare case, Dr. Revis, that we have to do that. That's why we are so stringent with you along the way, so that when we get to this Turnitin process, and when we get to the Taskstream for evaluation process, that we feel very confident that that you're going to be okay if you have done what we've asked you to do. Okay, Dr. Revis, have I missed anything at all in what we've said?
No, you haven't. The other thing, that going just one step further, once you submit it to Taskstream for your evaluator, Dr. Lamb likes for the evaluators to score and get your score back within 48 hours. We don't get your score back. You go in, you have to retrieve your score and see it in Taskstream. But what you will need to do then is a screenshot of your score in Taskstream, and then we have a submission box here on the, I think it's the on down a little bit further.
Yeah, I was trying to come out of some of this stuff that I had so much stuff open. Okay, in Blackboard.
It's right. It's right under the Turnitin, I think. Yeah, go on down under the Turnitin, and
right
the
there.
next
AAPSL final screenshot. And all you do there, I'm going to click on that. Upload a screenshot of your final AAPSL score. Now, we're hoping that it's going to show a 4.0. That's what we're striving for. But remember that to be successful, it cannot be anything lower than a 3.0. So you're going to upload anywhere from a 3.0 to a 4.0 for Dr. Revis and me to see. And guess what? That's when we say, ta-da, you have successfully completed Evidence 1, the AAPSL. Congratulations. And we're moving on.
Now, your evaluator is going to give you a score on every task. So you have to score at least a 3 on each individual task. And then your overall score is just an average of those scores.
Right.
So we are shooting for straight 4s. But guys, if you get a 3, you get a 3 and move on. Just let it go because there's nothing you can do. They're not going to let you redo your work as long as it is proficient.
And remember, Dr. Revis and I have stressed this over and over and over again. Remember, we've told you under task and prompts, we've gone over each time what they will be looking for to try to make it an accomplished document. Okay.
And Dr. Stedman, I think we wrote up these directions 1, 2, 3, 4 this process last semester. I'll try to find those and we could email them out if you want me to do that.
Okay, that's great. We could email them out and then we can put them under the AAPSL template and material section too for for a resource for them. I thought that we had it, and I'm surprised that it's not in there. I don't know, and it may be in there somewhere, and I just can't remember. But I thought I think we everything. Mm-hmm. I don't know. But okay, before we go any further, are there any questions of Dr. Revis and me at this point about what you've got to do to put the AAPSL document together into one document, the five tasks, what you've got to do to get it to the place that you can get permission to do Turnitin? Do you understand where you go when you have to go to Turnitin, what to do? And then once we say, okay, you're good to go for evaluation in Taskstream, you know where to go. You can come out of Blackboard because you've got a Taskstream account. And that's where you go. Okay,
and
any questions?
I want to reemphasize what Dr. Stedman said. Guys, don't wait. You don't have to do your final submission for your AAPSL tasks 1 through 5 until the 8th, but don't wait. Go ahead and let's get this process going. You want your whole purpose here is you want to be through this process by March 8th, and you want to have that final evaluation score and everything. So it's a process, a step by step, and we have to give you feedback. So let's go ahead and get that going.
And I'll tell you, and most of you are already at the place that you could go ahead and do this. I very successfully. It's just going to make life easier for you as we do our town hall next week, as we are introducing the AAPTEL next Tuesday in class, as we're doing that. If you've got the AAPSL behind you and don't have to think about it, it's going to make life so much easier for you when we move into things next week. I would highly encourage you to work very, very hard to do, to go ahead and get it over with, so I was trying my best to get it done this week anyway. I was putting that week 8 in week 7 as hard as I could. Okay, Dr. Revis, the Competency Folio, what would you like for me to do, or where would you like for me to go?
If you will just go up and let's click on the AAPSL, well, it's not AAPSL, it's just the Competency Folio, Handbook, and Folio, that first link up there.
Right.
Mel's Handbook, yeah. Let's look
Okay.
at that. One thing I want you to work on, both classes, Dr. Stedman and I have talked about this. We want you to go ahead and get your competency folio built and go ahead and put artifacts in it that are from your AAPSL. Okay, so we're going to look at that. The first link that you see here in these resources, how to set up your competency folio. Now, Dr. Lamb's going to go back over this probably on Tuesday night, maybe. But guys, he goes so fast that it's hard to jot everything down. Use this little video. You can stop it. It takes about 5 steps to set up your video, your folio. You have to create it, and it lives in Taskstream, but at a separate place right now. Okay, so get it created. And then let's go down and look at Anara. I never can pronounce her name. Anara.
Yeah.
Once you get that folio created, and you can choose your own themes and all that jazz, this is what she decided to create. And you see on the left-hand bar that those are all 21 of your competencies. So let's click on communication, Dr. Stedman. And so right underneath the heading of communication, it tells you you have to have 3 evidences. Now, this is for your whole 3 semesters. You need an evidence from your AAPSL. You need an evidence from your PSYOP. You don't even know what that is. And you need an evidence from open-ended. Anytime in your competency folio you see the word open-ended, that comes from your clinical internship experience. Okay, so Anara, very quickly, she already has her AAPSL. Look at what she did for her AAPSL. I can't read it. It's so small on my screen.
I can read it. It says the ability to effectively communicate is among the most important competencies that an administrator must have. Effective communication is inclusive of speaking, listening, and writing as it is related to the acquisition, organization, analysis, interpretation, and maintenance of information. This skill is necessary for the success of schools in the 21st century. And she goes on to talk. Remember, though, that she went in more detail than she really had to, but this is a model. This is really a model students work to follow, because we're mainly looking for not narrative work as much as we are the artifacts, which we're going to, let me come on down.
Yeah, in fact, if I had one criticism of her folio, I think she puts way too much text in there for my personal opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I like for you just to tell me that it was from the AAPSL, what it is, okay, and how it may demonstrate, if you're going to do anything, how it demonstrates communication. So let's open up her communication document. Guys, you've got these artifacts already uploaded into your AAPSL. I don't know if it's going to open it or not, but I think what her communication is here, I opened it earlier today, it is the agendas of her PLC meetings that she used.
It's going to open up.
Okay. And that's really all you need to say in the little blurb. You just need to say what it is.
There they
that's
are.
what she uploaded. Those are the agendas and I guess maybe minutes of her PLC meetings. You've already got that. You don't have to create anything new or different. You've already got it.
And she included several for the same one. You're only required to do one each time, but now what she did, she built herself a resume to be able to take with her or submit to anybody when she began looking for jobs. So,
and then if we could go back out of there, you see how she put her little blurb about the AAPSL. Again, I just want to know what it is. And you can say something as simple as, I demonstrated communication during my during the facilitation of my PLC meetings, and I've uploaded examples of our minutes and agendas. That's all you got to say. You don't have to go into depth. I really don't care about all the other stuff. Now, you're only going to have one here. You're only going to have the AAPSL. You're not going to have an open-ended or a PSYOP. You've not even done the PSYOP.
Yours will be spring 2021 right here.
Mm-hmm. And I like for you to tell me that it's from AAPSL. And then if you'll scroll back down, Dr. Stedman, notice it's very easy for a reviewer to figure out which artifact goes with the AAPSL because of the way she labeled it. If you don't label them in a way that we can tell, it makes it very confusing for your coaches. Now, I'm going to review the competency folios for Dr. Stedman's class, and he will review my class. So this is kind of what we're looking for. Now, we've kind of put things together. You may say, well, how do I know what I'm going to pull from my AAPSL? So are there any questions about where we are right here and what she's created before we leave this screen?
And remember, we want you to get started on this. It's very, very important. And you're going to find after you get through with the AAPSL and moving into the AAPSL, you're going to find you've got a little bit of downtime that you don't need to waste that time. This is an opportunity to go ahead and work on the 12 competencies that you've already met. The ones that you identified in task 5 of the AAPSL, those are perfect competencies to go ahead and to address for your folio.
You don't want to wait to the end of the semester and try to do all 21 of them. It will be a hair-pulling experience for you. So let's go back to the document that says competency folio artifacts from the 6 evidences, the third one from the bottom there.
Okay.
This is a great document that I guess Dr. Lamb created, or one of the professors created, working in the program. It tells you exactly.
This was Dr. Lamb's work.
Okay. It tells you exactly in the first block, competency folio artifacts from the AAPSL. It tells you you've already generated and put into your AAPSL work your email for your PLC permission. You've got agendas, you've got meetings, and you've got pictures. Now, the second column tells you which competencies to which those things, artifacts, align to.
Dr. Revis, remember we gave it to them numbered 1 through 21. These are consistent. Whatever number 1 was, I think it's communication. That will always be, when you see number 1, is communication.
Now you see that those things will satisfy competencies 1, 3, 6, 12, and 20. But remember, Dr. Lamb's rule, we don't submit the same artifact more than twice for a competency, for 2 different competencies. In other words, we don't want to see, when we open up competency 6 and we see your agenda and PLC meetings, we only want to see that for one other competency. So
and I'm going to be honest with you, Dr. Revis, I don't even like to see it twice. I know that they can,
yeah,
but to me, that's an easy way out. And I think that you are striving for accomplished work. And to me, I'm just telling you, if I was evaluating that, I would say, well, that's okay. It's proficient, but it's not accomplished. I would look for 21 different things if that's what I would look for.
And what you may want to do is put your PLC agendas in for competency 1 and put your PLC meetings in for competency 20. Just split them up. Okay. And then your total data set of validated scores, that came out of your AAPSL Task 2, where you showed all of your data that your team reviewed and examined. And that can go for competency 16 and 18.
Yeah, all that EVOS data.
Mm-hmm. Your research study abstracts, and that's where you went in and created your annotated bibliography and your literature review on your most pressing need. That can satisfy competency 7. And then pictures of where you, or a video of where you presented your action plan to your admin team, it can satisfy 4 different competencies. So again, you know, you've got some leeway. You can make some decisions about which competencies, those artifacts, what you want to use to satisfy those competencies, but no more than twice, if possible, no more than once. Okay?
Dr. Revis, this is a great cheat sheet.
It really is.
It is really a great.
And I want to show you one more chart. It's in that same.
Here they are. Here's the competencies right here,
Yeah.
listed just in the same order as, you know, when you see number 9 is going to be the same anywhere you look at, or number 6 is going to be the same anywhere you look at it. Okay.
And those are in the same order that you're going to find them in your portfolio. So do not create more work for yourself. Work smart. You've already created many artifacts just with your AAPSL work. Can we go back one more place? I want to show them one more.
I will, and I think I came out of it, so you're gonna have to give me.
Came out of it. Okay.
Let me go back and. Oh, I didn't.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought I did.
Okay. If we just go back to where it shows everything that's in this particular tab.
Okay, here we are. Well, here we are. You want to go back into?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
If you just click right there,
okay.
I created a table, a chart. If you'll scroll on down, it's toward the bottom, Dr. Stedman.
Okay.
It's the one that.
Right here?
No, let me see. I don't believe you have that one. Okay, that's okay.
Okay,
it's just a table that I created to kind of show you which competencies you need to pull for which.
Okay, if you'll send me that one, I'll put it in here as well.
Okay, all right. But anyway, it's just being strategic, and then again, you're going to fill in with things, evidences, and artifacts for your clinical internship.
Okay.
Like you're 21, you will have some from the AAPSL as well. But go ahead and at least get into your folio and put in those 12 that you talked about in task 5 of the AAPSL.
If you don't get started now, I promise you, at the end of the semester, you'll start pulling your hair out and stressing because you have waited until the last minute to do this.
And we start pulling our hair out too.
And look at me. I can't afford to pull any more out.
Oh, I can't either.
Okay. I'm going to stop sharing, Dr. Revis, and we're going to, hey, Dr. Lamb.
Good evening.
What questions? Oh, and the School of Ed dispositions. Remember, you can go ahead in Taskstream, and you can take care of that at any point now. That's a self-analysis. You just look at it and you assess yourself, and you just fill in the bubble, and then you can submit that. You can go ahead and submit that for evaluation now. Now, the competency analysis, you do not do that until the end of the semester after you have completed the other 9 competencies for the AAPSL, and then we'll tell you then that you're good to go. But at this point, you can do the School of Ed dispositions. And I would say go ahead and get that over with. Okay, questions. No, Lisa, you do not fill anything in the boxes. All you do is just I think there's little bullets, and you just hit one of them, the one that applies to you. Now, if you think that you are, what is the word?
Accomplished.
Accomplished. If you're accomplished in any area, you've got to, and it's okay if you think you are, you've got to support it with the evidence to us. You know, so if you feel like you're accomplished in any area, you can't just say I'm accomplished and leave it like that. You have to tell us why and support it with the evidence why you're accomplished. Okay. Dr. Lamb, thank you for joining us. Anything that you would like, because I don't know how long you've been with us, anything you'd like to say to them before we close out? They're really doing a great job with bringing the AAPSL to a closure.
Excellent. First of all, a little housekeeping. Congratulations to Nicole, who's with us tonight, looks like. I heard today that she's going to be joining our EDD program in the fall. So congratulations to Nicole. That's good news. Hopefully they won't malpractice on her too bad. Tell Dr. Laws I said that.
Dr. Lamb, Tasha was talking about it at the beginning. There's others in this group that's interested in the program.
Well, we certainly, we picked up another one today, I think, for EDCI. Let's see, I've got that here as well, with Dr. Putnam. So I'm glad of that. Now, I want to remind you, and I know this is not relevant to most of you. Let's see. But that if you live in one of the, so Kay Harris, yeah, Kay's with us. I'm sorry, didn't see you there. Kay's going to join our EDCI program, looks like, and so congratulations to Kay. And it is relevant to Kay. So if you live in one of the foothill counties around Gardner-Webb, they're doing a tuition reduction for you that puts it down in the range of state colleges.
That's great.
As you know, you get a whole lot more personal service with us than you do with them. Now, I'm not throwing dirt on them. I mean, they're a low cost alternative for a reason. They have great programs, but they don't do any support. You kind of own your own because you're not paying for that support. And so, so this Foothills Initiative, if you're in Rutherford, Cleveland, Gaston, or Lincoln, and if you're not, still affordable. So we've got two in this group that are already are already going to be moving into those programs. And so if there are more of you, please let me know. I'll get you in touch with Dr. Putnam for EDCI and Dr. Laws for EDLS. Let's see now. You will probably have Dr. Stone this summer for 605. So many of you will get to know him. He also teaches their introductory course in 730. And so if you don't, he will still be able to answer a lot of questions, and he can tell you exactly what your first course will be with them. I work with Dr. Laws. I don't teach the introductory course, so you probably won't have me. Dr. Laws and I do a block out of that program for EDCI doctorals. So you won't have to have us because you've already come through this program. But anyway, I think you'll enjoy Dr. Stone, and he works with that program as well, he and Dr. Laws. And so they have a group of superintendents around the state that will work with you, just like the MELS program, that will teach you class. And they have a coach system as well that coaches your dissertation. Much just like we have the coach system, they've adopted that for dissertation now. That's what I was talking about. You won't get that at a state college. Somebody that's with you from the very beginning and coaches you up to the point where they hand you to your dissertation chair. And remember, the doctoral programs at Gardner-Webb are only 2 years of coursework. And you can be working on your dissertation at the same time. as you do your coursework, which again, not an option at a state college. And so while it may cost more up front, you get out in 2 to 3 years rather than 3 to 4. So you have to factor that in as well, how long you have to stay. So just a plug for them. If you look under week 8, Zoom session 8, where it used to say, get the link later for our next Monday night AAPSL session, it now has the link. I put that in all of your shells tonight. Regardless whose class you're in, I've invited the master students to join us again as well. I sent that full invite to all the instructors, but it's already in your shell, so you won't have to bother to do that. So please join me next Monday night. I'm keeping my eye on the time here. Please join me next Monday night at 7, and we'll do the AAPSL. It's 8 o'clock. I'm done. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Lamb. Dr. Revis, any final comments on anything?
I don't think so. I need to fix one of my uploads, and then we'll send you out those directions how to follow through that submission process all the way to Taskstream.
Okay.
So use your time wisely this week. Let's get the AAPSL finished, submitted to Taskstream, and work on your competency folio a little bit, and make sure you are setting up your Zoom meeting for your case study.
Okay. Okay. Good night, everybody. We will see you on Monday at the town hall. Okay.
Good night.
Good night.
All right.